Hey, we are back with a tutorial on how to get this quick weave using Outre Purple Pack hair this time. So we're going to begin with my braid pattern, which right now is 5 braids, only 4 will stay. The braid here is my braid for my part. I have 2 perimeter braids going around the edge and then 2 interior braids to braid down the inside of my hair. They are sealed with a rubber band and the rubber band is holding the edges. I'm putting on the stocking cap over my head, and what I do is I cut out the center where my part will be. Now I'm going to start sewing from the top part of the left hand side of the perimeter braid and work my way around to the other perimeter braid on the right hand side of the head. Now as I continue to move around the head, you notice I'm only looping one time, and then I move to the next section and loop again. I do not make knots as I go through. It's just one single loop. Also, to prevent your needle and thread from tangling, I only make my thread an arm's length long. So when I measure it out through my needle, I simply take my arm, stretch it out, and that's how long my thread is. As I get to the top of the head, you can see I zoom in so you can notice I'm actually making sure that cap is sewn to this top perimeter braid. If you do not ensure it's sewn onto that braid, it will slip. To finish off the threading, I simply just clip the needle and then make a knot at the top, and that finishes off how we're going to sew on the cap around the perimeter. One more thing I do to ensure my quick weave remains tight is I take the excess cap by pulling it down to a back perimeter braid and sewing it to the perimeter braid. You can do it on your left hand side or your right hand side. It just helps to ensure that the cap remains tight and is not loose once you begin to glue the tracks on. Now the next step is to go in and remove the excess cap. I begin where I made the hole where my part is, and then I begin to just clip around the perimeter of my head and remove the cap that was not sewn onto my head. Very, very simple, and it's one of the easiest parts of this process. So I do a quick check and we're good and ready to move to the next step, which is making a protective barrier. I am using Salon Pro's 30-second Argan Weave Wonder Wrap to provide a protective barrier between my hair and the glue once we apply the tracks to the cap. I'm going to apply this product with the brush, as you can see, all over the cap, fully saturating the cap. And once I'm done, I'm going to sit under the hair dryer for 30 minutes to allow it to dry. Prior to the hair dryer, as you can see, I'm also going to set my edges, and the whole purpose of this part of the process is to create a protective barrier between my hair and the cap so that the glue cannot penetrate the cap and get onto my hair underneath. Okay, so to apply our tracks, we will be using Salon Pro's 30-second glue. And the way I do this is I take my extensions and I measure it from ear to ear in a U shape. The U shape is the most important part, because what happens is if you put these tracks on the cap going straight across, there will be tension because it's not in the shape of your head. So as you can see, I'm going to apply this track from my ear to the other ear in a U-shaped form, and I'm going to work my finger across until the track is completely on the cap and attached. So now I'm just running my fingers across the track to make sure it's completely attached and giving it time to dry. We're going to do the same thing going up the head. Remember, and I'm repeating this again, I'm putting this track on in a U shape. For those of you who've ever had a quick weave that was painful, it is because the tracks were straight across and it pulled from your sides of your head, creating tension and pain. So usually when I'm making videos, I have me a good jam out session, and right here I was jamming to Latoya Luckett's She Don't Even Touch You Like I Do, Boy You. But y'all know, if I play that, YouTube gonna hit me and take my video down, so y'all just sing it to yourselves. Now back to work. We are continuing to move up the head in that U part shape as we place the tracks, and we're going to do this process over and over until we get to the very top. And then I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see exactly how I lay my tracks once I get closer to the part. Okay, now we are moving to the very top, and as you can see, I'm going to lay that track right on top of where we sewed the cap on. So in the beginning, remember I told you we're sewing the cap onto our perimeter braid. We're laying that track right on top of that perimeter braid. Now that everything's installed, it's time to get styling. I'm using this Duval flat iron that you can see has two plates. The inner plate has an infrared light on the inside, which helps to make that hair extra smooth. So I did apply heat protectant, and I want you to see how smooth and silky my leave out is coming out with this flat iron. Now for those who have been following me from the beginning, you know I am natural. So my leave out had been blown with a blow dryer and round brush prior to the flat iron. But you can see the flat iron is actually leaving it silkier and sealing in that shine. So now we're really going to give this flat iron a run for its money, since Duval wanted me to give my honest opinion. And you can see it made some really nice curls with it. So I like that it has these rounded ends because it made the flat iron easier to roll and curl the hair with. So now that you see how this Duval flat iron works, if you are interested, I will have a link with a discount code in the description box, and you can head over and purchase one for yourself. So I am just finishing curling my hair, and once I finish curling, I rake through my curls because I like my curls to be loose and wavy, and I put a little oil in my hand, and as you can see I work that through, and that is it. We are finished, ladies. This is my quick weave in under 10-minute tutorial. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, as always, leave the questions in the comment box, and I'll reach back out to you and see you next time.